Asia Shields, and this is the ABCs of Traeger grills. Overview of activity-based costing and Traeger grill operations. Activity-based costing is based on activities such as any unit of work and or task with a specific goal. What makes it different from traditional costing is that it assigns overhead and indirect costs to products and services. In doing so, it makes it easier to see the relationship between costs, manufactured products, and overhead activities. Therefore, costs can now be more easily examined and controlled. Under the ABC method, it considers any activity a cost driver, which helps in assigning overhead costs. It takes everything into account, regardless if it directly contributed to the product or not. Unlike traditional costing, where allocation of indirect overhead costs is dependent upon volume count, ABC costing has a level 5 activity classification that categorizes the sources of costs. It is unrelated to volume such as machine hours and direct labor hours. Instead, costs can be sourced from batch level, unit level, customer level, product level, and organization sustaining activities. Activity-based costing helps us determine the true costs of an activity, which makes the cost data more reliable. As a result, more appropriate and effective pricing strategies can be constructed and implemented. This costing system is also used in product costing, target costing, service pricing, customer profitability analysis, and product line profitability analysis. ABC costing additionally enhances the process of costing by creating a greater number of cost pools. Instead of costs being accumulated in one company-wide cost pool, it is by activity. Therefore, if companies needed to adjust costs to promote profitability, they find the root of the problem accurately and quickly versus viewing from a broad picture. This costing method also recognizes that volume isn't the only variable that creates costs. It recognizes that all the activities involved surrounding the process of making a product also have its own costs. As a result, indirect costs that are difficult to trace are now easier to identify since it is assigned to certain activities. Indirect costs are now traceable under this method. An example would be transferring overhead costs that were solely found to products of high volume now to low volume products. What this leads to is raising the unit or cost of goods sold to low volume products. ABC versus traditional method of accounting diagram shows the resources, activities, and objects, and it's everything that's being done in the organization to what's actually taking place, and then what products and or services that are being provided. Uh, the traditional method is just the resources and the actual objects, so it only includes direct materials and labor hours, and overhead costs such as supervisors and administration salaries have included in their production, really. And the Traeger grills. Traeger's app also includes easy-to-follow recipes that demonstrate various cooking techniques. The user can also set up desired temperature of their wood pellet stove and monitor the progress in it, which to me makes them the best grill out there. Traeger manufactures a line of versatile and user-friendly wood pellet grills, and the wood pellets are auto-fed, allowing the temperature of the grill to be adjusted easily. It has its own place for the pellets to go, which is so innovative and different than all other grills that are out there right now. They can be used as smokers, a grill, or even just an oven. It's not just a grill, but it's a whole new system. Uh, it's very competitive. Its revenues from sales include the wood pellet stoves, the consumables like the pellets themselves. They have their own product line for those, barbecue sauces, rubs, and then there's 9% from accessories like tongs and racks. Um, and then future success for Traeger will depend upon expanding into new markets or customer demographics. For financials in 2021 to date at least, the revenues are $610 million. Their cost of revenue is $372 million. Their gross profits $283 million, and that puts their operating expenses about $269 million. But this is mostly sales, marketing, and general administrative expenses. Traeger Grills has substantial revenues, but is losing money through the first 3 quarters of this year. They would benefit from finding new ways to cut costs as well as increasing revenue. Value engineering and an ABC costing system may be able to help them control costs and decrease losses or generate a profit. According to their 2021 third quarter statements, sales, marketing costs have increased 196%, and general administration expenses have increased 320%, but revenue only increased by 48.2% through the first 3 quarters compared to the first 3 quarters last year. Is this a one-time increase or a permanent increase, and what caused this increase? I would say that this is more of a one-time increase because of all of the different situations and scenarios that we've been going through this year because of COVID-19 and the inability of people to be able to purchase expensive grills like this. Like, I really want one, but I probably can't afford it. And then do the prices have to be adjusted to compensate for this? Unfortunately, I would say that the answer to that is yes. They're going to have to adjust if sales aren't reaching the cost of revenue that they're experiencing. Now, how can Traeger benefit from activity-based costing? They can implement ABC in order to increase profitability and overall performance of the business. If we take their grill, for example, locating the cost to manufacture the grill, whether they may be good or bad, is a good place to start. It's important to note that if they increase the cost of the grills, they're going to obviously lose customers. They would increase the sales dependent upon how many more grills they can sell year over year. How can Traeger implement activity-based costing? Number one, identify activities and activity pools needed to produce a wood pellet grill, like such as labor hours, machinery, warehouse or rental spaces, and materials. Number two, Traeger should then assign costs to activity cost pools. Cost pools are a grouping of individual costs. The labor cost for the employees needed to produce one grill affects the labor hours that are worked. The longer it takes to make a grill, the more costly it gets to be produced. And number three, they calculate the cost drivers rates. Machinery is used to produce the wood pellet grills, so the cost driver for the machines would be the number of machines needed to be set up in order to start production. And then 4, assign the cost to the cost object. Overhead costs can be tracked back through the actions that cause the overhead to be acquired. What to do after implementation. Managers can make better financial decisions when they locate the exact cost of something within a couple of seconds. It provides Traeger with the cost data and gives the true cost of producing a wood pellet grill. Traeger can then determine, for example, if they should hire more employees because the length of time it takes to produce one grill, or if they need a bigger space to keep producing grills in order to keep up with the supply and demand for these wood pellet grills.